Zach Wellman, live in studio.
I'm here. My timer.
Yeah, no, go ahead. There.
Okay.
Keeper of the clock. Zach Wellman's here. Zach, Vice President of Human Relations. Is that correct?
That's what they call me.
That's what they call you. I've seen it on papers. I've seen it in the email.
Excel sheet.
Is it human resources, human relations?
It's relations.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
I'm not a resource of humans. I do it
You're a
for
relation of humans.
Yeah.
That's better.
That's interesting. Wow. Well, Zach, welcome to the podcast. I know I won't lie, it's surprising to have you here, and this is why. Not because you're not an interesting guy, not because you don't add value to the conversation, but because every time you walk into my office and the podcast equipment is out, you whisper, "Are these on?"
Well, you got to make sure they're on. You never know what's up Aaron's sleeve.
You might get hot mic'd.
Like you said, this is an extension of Aaron's office, probably. This is a 30-minute conversation in Aaron's office. So I'm not convinced he doesn't have them on for his own personal pleasure at sometimes.
He probably has thousands of hours of audio of us that he plans to use against us at some point.
Let's not lose track of the fact that Zach hates
And
Earth.
also,
okay?
I know why this
he does
is a surprise as well.
Okay.
Is because Andy Hess, general counsel, canceled last second.
No, that's not true. He didn't cancel. He just said he couldn't make it.
That's also true.
Yeah, but you were there, and I said, "Hey, how about you?" And you said, "Sure."
Yeah, I will be honest. So Andy is much more interesting than I am.
Absolutely not.
I think you're both interesting.
Yeah. That's a political statement.
Thanks, Jeff.
Well, we're going to find out. We're going to compare the two, and then we'll get back to the viewers on that.
We can put a poll down there.
Yeah.
Just don't make it anonymous.
No. No, don't you worry.
I want to attack the people that say bad things about me.
In the comments section, just rail back on
I don't want them to go all in.
Yeah,
they say that's the best way to handle it. Is to attack every comment.
Yeah, I've heard.
Really give it an audience.
Yeah.
Like if there's thousands of them, spend an entire day reading through them.
Yes,
I've heard that's really good for mental health.
And let it bother you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, don't let it go for sure. Let that eat at you.
Yep.
Yeah, change you to a better person.
Yeah.
Zach, how long have you been with Village Caregiving?
Creeping up on a year. April 1st will be a year.
A year. Okay. And before, I'm not telling company secrets here, folks. This isn't family scoop.
No.
We didn't have an HR department before you, right?
Yeah, we did. It was me.
Yeah, that's.
So what we're saying is we did not have an HR department.
Thanks.
I think it was a percentage of Jeff over there this time.
Yeah, but so you at one point, I remember during meetings, you said, "Look, this is like we're to the size now. We need this. Like this is we're finally big enough that."
Well, that's an evolution of every little company's growth.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now we have an HR department with multiple people in it. So.
Yeah. Well, and Zach, your background is not necessarily in human relations, is that right?
That's correct. It's absolutely not. I did defense litigation for a few years before this, which is I was an attorney.
An attorney.
So,
okay.
Litigation's a fancy word.
Well,
attorneys use, I guess.
So you come to Village Caregiving. You have some connections to Village Caregiving. You're a local guy, right? Mm-hmm. You're out of the greater Huntington area.
Yeah, I'm from Wayne County. I went to Spring Valley High School.
Okay.
Now live in Barbersville. I'm a Barbersville transplant.
Yeah. Have you ever fought Jeff or Ben?
No.
Really? No. Okay, so you guys aren't friends.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Look at him. He's got
mittens on him like a bear. Are you kidding me?
College football player.
I watch what I say to him.
Brother played in the NFL.
I'm out of the loop on this. Must be a callback to something I don't.
What? How old are you?
31.
10 years younger. He would. I'm not joking around. If we got into a fight and you wanted to murder me, you could do it within 120 seconds, I believe.
Well, at least I know I own that real estate in your brain now. So that's
fine. You own it. You can plant crops on it. Yeah. Anything you want. I'm not fighting you.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll never become friends now, according to Aaron.
Yeah, you gotta. It's.
We have to fight to be friends.
I think so. I didn't set that.
We can thumb fight.
Yeah. Well, we could do a thumb war. And,
okay.
No, I've never fought Ben, but
okay.
He does happen to be my brother-in-law.
Ben is?
Yes.
Really?
Met Ben, what's it been? 14 years ago now?
It was probably the personality that overwhelmed you at first?
Well, I was a much younger version of myself. like Ben said, if you listen to his podcast,
Yeah.
he could come off as a little dry at first.
Huh.
But Ben, over the years, has become a great mentor to me and made a big impression on my life, as you said.
Yeah.
But
I've
through
met
Ben,
beef jerky that is more moist than this guy. I mean, are you kidding me?
You're kind of going in on now.
I'm kidding.
I gotta watch it.
You should listen to the podcast. The guy just destroyed me with this guy's help. Go on. I don't want to interrupt you anymore. I'm done with Ben.
I don't remember where it was. Oh, how
you
became
met
here. So through Ben, I met Jeff and Matt. Actually, Matt's daughter was the flower girl in my wife's wedding. So,
Really? Did you know that?
That was mine, as a matter of fact. That's okay.
What now?
It was my daughter.
Yeah, that's what I said. Jeff's.
Oh, I thought you said Matt's.
Did I
Yeah,
say
you said
Matt's?
Matt's
Oh,
daughter.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I meant to say Jeff. In my head, I heard Jeff.
Well, we can come back to this, but one of the more embarrassing moments of my life occurred as a result of my daughter being a flower girl in your wedding. But we'll come back to that.
Yeah, well, I don't remember that.
Obviously not. You thought it was Matt's daughter that was there. This whole thing is a Matt. Okay, let's just continue on.
Sorry.
Somehow you ended up at Village Caregiving. At this point, Matt was at your wedding. Ben was there with a big personality. Jeff got embarrassed. All right, so here we are at Village Caregiving.
Yeah, well, I was observing Village Caregiving,
Yeah.
practicing law. Ben would talk
Looking
about
for
it
a
all the time.
lawsuit?
No, not looking for a lawsuit.
Okay, I
just
wasn't sure.
distantly seeing the growth, seeing how awesome you guys were doing. Finally, there came an opportunity where Ben called me up one day and said, "Would you be interested in an HR position? It's okay if you're not. Would you want to sit down with Jeff?" And I said, "Sure.
Yeah.
Definitely interested." And the rest is history.
Do you remember that day?
Oh, very well, yeah. I remember the moment thinking that Zach would be perfect to head up the HR department.
What was it about that day that you were like, this is the guy? You have these moments.
Well, my wife, Sarah, is going to love to hear this.
Oh,
but
boy.
Have I ever told you this? She actually
so.
is the one that said it. Oh, I hate giving her credit for this one.
We can cut it out.
Sarah,
It's
I
okay.
love you.
Oh, okay.
She might not want credit.
You were
for
right.
that.
Now, we were in Fayetteville at Wood Iron, place that serves breakfast, on the back porch. Obviously, she knows Zach, and I was overwhelmed with all these tasks, and we needed to build this out. And so we had talked about Zach maybe joining the company in some capacity, but there was just no need for a director or anything. I mean, it was getting pretty full, so we were looking for how would this fit. And I'm talking about HR, and she was just like, "Well, what about Zach?" And I was just, I'm a pretty contrarian fella.
I've never seen it, but go on.
Yeah. And so I thought for like 5-10 seconds, it's like, that is absolutely perfect.
And that was
Honest-
probably
honest to a
48 hours before I was hired. The way we move things.
You're right. Honest to a fault, really smart, legal background, yada, yada. So, I mean, it was the easiest decision ever. I just was, in this meeting that we're talking about,
Yeah.
I was just praying to God he would accept the position because
see.
I knew it would be perfect. And my job is it probably anybody that has a small company that might be listening to this will relate. You have a little bit of a complex of you hope other people respect what you're trying to do
Sure.
and value it as much as you do. So I have no idea what Zach's, you could talk about it, what his view of the company was at that moment. But for all I know, he's like, I'm not leaving this law firm to go to this startup-ish thing.
Yeah.
So that's the way I approached it, was honestly just hoping that you would have the interest and be open to taking that leap. And it is a leap. I'll say that too, because anybody that's ever come on, I was never in that position where I had to leave a career path to come join Village Caregiving. And I truly, I mean this, admire that, because that takes real guts. That's a life change, and you've got a wife and a family to think about, and to make that change, I admire it a lot. So thanks.
Yeah, well, I see it all the time. Aaron's in these interviews, and we convince these highly successful people that are in these successful careers to make that leap. I was in a unique position to where, I knew Ben, I knew Jeff, I knew Matt. I'd seen, to me, you asked, what was it when I came over? What did I see it as? Well, you mentioned like a startup or like a mom and pop. I saw it as like this company that was going to be Apple one day. So I thought the exact opposite, maybe because I was uniquely situated. So I felt that it was a little bit of a leap, not necessarily that I was taking a big chance, but a leap in a sense of, hey, I've built these set of skills in this legal world that I've honed, and I've went through the tough part at the beginning where you feel like a dummy every single day, and man, I really got to start over and feel like a dummy for probably 6 straight months of not knowing what I'm doing. But that was the leap for me, not necessarily that I was taking a chance on my career in that aspect. So
Okay.
I know the first 7 people you offered it to had turned it down. So the fact that Zach
well,
Zach
let's not
agreed
talk
to
about
it,
that part.
That was
That
probably
was a
a
good
big
feeling.
Yeah, we finally got one. I remember you saying that. We finally got one.
You weren't supposed to say that.
I'm kidding.
That's all right.
It is.
Obviously not true.
Yeah, no, that's not true at all. We have a culture at the home office specifically, right? I'm certain it's out into the branches as well, to the other offices. But there, the home office, there is this unique culture that exists. It shows up on the podcast, it shows up at meetings, and it is a very easy, laid back culture, and it's an enjoyable culture. A lot of laughing, joking. There's this, when you would show up to this day, when you still roll in the room, we're like, hey guys, HR's here, right? And you've done a fantastic job. A traditional person that has spent 30 years in HR may hypothetically walk into an organization like Village Caregiving and say, well, now hold on.
change everything.
Yeah, I'll tell you what we're going to need to start with is a dumpster. But no, not here. You came in and really settled into the role of, you have brought experience and expertise and probably some professionalism or maturity to some situations where sometimes I'll admit we would react maybe somewhat emotionally to certain things. I think it was well intended. I think it was well guided, and we still were successful in it. But you've brought a level of calmness to situations. We do some hard things. In your department specifically, you're navigating some really hard things. We have people that get sick, people that get hurt, people that leave our organization, people that we would like for them to leave our organization. Like, things happen. We're a big company with a lot of moving parts. And you're tasked with probably one of the more challenging aspects of that, and that's how to navigate these really sticky situations and do it with calmness and ease, and people can keep their dignity. That you've done a fantastic job of that, right? Talk a little bit. Yeah, absolutely. Talk about that a little bit. What is the important parts of your role when it comes to this human relations aspect, especially you're one of the first contacts when someone gets offered the job. You're also one of the last contacts if someone's leaving the organization, right? Not every doctor also performs funerals. So you really get to see the spectrum here. What does that look like for you?
Well, the former, the first interaction when they come on the company is much better. So I'll start there. That is a really sensitive time frame, right? So these people, first we convince them to, like I said, leave their careers, bring them and their family essentially to our organization to have this job, to provide for their family. And those first interactions with our company, I think, are like so important and really set the tone. I don't think I'm saying anything that someone already doesn't know here, but it's really cool that I'm a part of that, to start that conversation, get to know their name right up front, and then I just think it's like very important, and I am uniquely situated to where I've spent some time dealing with the general public and talking to people right off the street and getting to know them real quickly, and making them feel a part of our company and this culture you speak of that is so great. and I get a chance to try to convey that, be the first person to get that, set that tone. So.
Sure.
You take it seriously, and you're really thoughtful about it. I appreciate that.
Well, I probably take it too serious at times. Stresses me out. But, I think it's awesome that I get to do that. So the second one you mentioned is not so fun. But I also think that I'm uniquely situated to where I've gravitated to things in my life that are really difficult. I enjoy difficult tasks because you always come out on the other side, that you find yourself in a difficult situation or a difficult issue. What are you going to do about it? Do you freak out and have someone else, call someone else? Well, there's not always going to be someone else to call. So what do? You sit there. You got to figure out how to maneuver it and navigate it. And I feel like I've definitely not mastered that, but figured out how to navigate through that situation and handle it myself. I've almost kind of, like I said, I gravitate to those situations.
I see.
Sorry. I'm getting real serious.
No. I mean, you don't invite HR to the room unless you expect it to get serious.
Yeah.
That's what I tell everyone. If Zach's here, you may not be. That's my opening line.
That's no way
That's
to
how you're
set this
introducing me.
man up.
Is that not how I?
No.
Should I stop doing that? You think?
Yes.
Okay, then I'll stop immediately. My apologies.
That's not going to stop. Ever.
Yeah, you're probably right. There's no stopping that guy.
Sorry, I know, Aaron. That was a lot of rambling.
It's perfect.
Need water?
No, I'm good. Thank you, though.
Okay.
It's very kind of you. Would you like a drink of my coffee?
Let me make sure that's what you got.
No, it is coffee. Remember, Jeff and I one time.
Okay, I believe it. Actually, and you did take the last cup, too.
We met at Black Sheep for a dinner one evening, and he comes in late, all right, believe this or not, sits down.
Actually, hard to believe. You're usually on time.
Starts eating my appetizer, takes my drink, starts drinking my drink.
How well did you know this man?
I mean, this was like
a
2
couple
weeks ago.
weeks
Okay, all right. That's
I
better.
accidentally drank the wrong cup. He tells every story with a bent that, favors
it's taking
him.
me some time I think I can kind of figure out when Aaron's joking now, but there's times where I just don't know.
You just can't. I understand.
And
yeah, that's probably part of my therapy. But go on.
Were you getting to a point, or is this the thing
No,
where I'm
I
going
was
to
just-
derail?
Yeah,
totally?
no, I wanted Zach to be aware that at any given point you could take his food or drink his drink.
There have been moments in the past podcast episodes where you tell this beautiful tale about your wedding and things, and then I just immediately move on.
What do you mean times? It's nearly every podcast I start to really open up and share with the audience, which they've asked for, by the way. Several people, many, mostly my mom, but a lot of people have asked.
Well, I could see why.
Yeah.
You're terribly important and interesting. What I'm trying to say is that this is the one podcast where I don't want to do that to you. I'm evolving. I've learned how to take social cues. So were you headed towards something beautiful there, or could I ask a question?
No, please ask.
Okay. I was just wanting to know about Zach, personal, what are you into, hobbies, stuff like that. Get to know Zach Wellman a little bit, because there's a lot of offices all over the country at this point. We're just talking with Ben on the last episode about Albuquerque. The new director there, what's Zach, the HR director, like?
Yeah.
So, hobbies?
Yeah, sure, whatever.
I bike a lot. I road bike, mountain bike. Kind of into building them a little bit. I'd say that's... So, my hobbies...
Building?
I built my own road bike and my own mountain bike from the ground up.
Built a bike?
Yeah, you take the frame. I build it piece by piece. So, you take the frame...
I see.
You got components, you got wheels and tires. It's just like
Boy, I'll tell you, you'd hate to ride the bike I'd build. That's death.
Yeah, I wouldn't ride that one.
You wouldn't. Not far. Yeah. Okay, sorry about that. Biking.
Yeah, so I get in these little rabbit holes of hobbies, and I research everything. So biking's my big one. Really into bourbon. Not that I drink a lot of bourbon. I do, not every day, but I collect it a lot.
I'm one of those guys that it could probably cost $30 $30 a shot or two, and I just can't hardly tell the difference unless it's real terrible. We were talking about this with Jeremy Sissel, our chief accounting officer, who's from Lexington, Kentucky.
I was thinking how disrespectful he was to the state of Tennessee on that podcast.
Well,
He
I
was
think
so
I listened to this. I think you might have been disrespectful to the state of Kentucky.
He was talking about bourbon being in Tennessee.
Yeah.
That's an offense to a person that lives in
I
Kentucky.
think you may have started that one.
Not on purpose.
You don't say that.
Not on purpose.
Well, that's no excuse. You don't get to go around doing whatever you want in this life and then go, I didn't do it on purpose.
I was concerned about the bourbon fungi, the alcohol-induced fungi that was taking over.
You were concerned about it?
You called it the black mold.
Well, I didn't call it that. The scientists did.
Okay.
Question the science, Earth
at any
hater.
rate,
Go on.
you get into the different batches and
I'm not an aficionado or anything, but yeah, I can taste a big difference in this batch, that batch, single barrel proofing.
See, I'm lucky in that regard because I can't, and I just doesn't make any difference. Cheaper the better.
Can I tell a Zach Wellman story?
Please.
We got a moment for a Zach Wellman story? So Zach calls one day. We're at 650 Main Street, and Zach's working there. And Zach is doing some remodeling of his house. And he says, I could use a couple strong fellas to come over and help me move something. He didn't ask me. And I can only assume that's because I was exceptionally busy at this moment.
It's
probably
because you were the captain of the bowling team.
Okay.
I didn't know that at the time.
Yeah, he didn't know that. And a lot of people didn't. So there's that.
Inferred it.
And so Zach asked for some fellows to go help. And there was a couple guys around that obviously was not nearly as busy as I was because they were free to go help. And I'm thankful for that. And Zach took them over. But then they called and said, we need additional help. And I was beside the person that he called. I still did not actually get the phone call. But I said, well, I'll go. You know, I'm capable. I'm strong and stuff. That's what my mom told me.
Yeah.
So I said, I'll go over and help. And so we go over, and all they have is this little countertop for an island, okay? Just a little countertop. There's 5, 6 people there.
I think there were 6 people.
There were 6 people there. There were straps. There were trained professionals. I said, guys, get out. Let me get a corner of this.
Yeah.
Jeff Heflin was the trained professional.
Yeah, there was a professional bodybuilder there. I mean, this guy's ripped, jacked, yoked. I thought Hulk Hogan had drove me over there. Anyways, I said, let me get on a corner of that thing, and I'm going to help.
Let me get on a corner of that
Well,
thing.
there were 6 people on one edge. We had to carry it upright because he said it would break.
I was told this thing
Let me get on a corner of that.
Well, no one wants to be the middle of that sandwich. I mean, my goodness, give me a corner,
Well,
folks.
little did he know, you wanted to be in the
You want to be
middle
on the
of that thing.
front corner of that
Yeah.
thing. I was in the back. When I say that this thing was the heaviest item on earth, I don't know how they got it in the bed of the pickup truck. It was a stationary item that we had tried to put in motion, basically.
Yeah.
It was, I feel, attached to the core of the earth at some
What
point.
was it? Let's get to
It was a quartz countertop.
A quartz
for an
countertop.
island top.
Yeah.
And I was told it weighed 300 pounds. There's no way this thing weighed.
If
What would you say it did?
3,000 pounds?
If you could convince me it weighed 3,000 pounds.
Roughly the size
But
of a car. You were 6 men. That's
It
what
was a Volkswagen Jetta, but flat, bro. I'm not even kidding. This thing was the heaviest thing.
What did it
Is
sit
Aaron
on?
exaggerating?
What was it on? If it was a wooden counter, it would have just smashed
You
it. You
would
can't
think-
set a Volkswagen on a piece of wood.
Well,
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 my
maybe you
father-in-law
can, I guess.
built this
Yeah.
reinforced island.
let me say this.
Reinforced island.
There you go.
Let me say this. If I had to go stay at Zach's house tonight and he said, hey, man, the only place to sleep is in the basement under that countertop, I wouldn't sleep there because it is a matter of time before that quartz goes back to the earth, okay? And it's going to go through an island.
It will return from
Floor
whence
joists.
it came.
It may go through the concrete in the basement. I don't know.
If I had to set an over and under, I would probably
Yeah.
say 600.
I'm probably joking some. This was no joke.
Probably.
I'm picturing the monolith from Space Odyssey.
When I did this,
Yeah.
it didn't do this. Okay?
Well, Aaron got situated on the back corner, which is the heaviest, most. He's the point man on
Yeah.
this thing.
So listen
And-
to him. I had the heaviest part, Jeff. All right? The captain bowling team back there, all right? That wasn't a
All I heard was
12-pound bowling ball.
grunting, maybe some whining, some moans from you.
That was the other guys.
I heard Aaron complaining about this thing. Well, I guess till now, for a solid week and a half.
I tried to file a workers'
This
comp
hurts.
claim.
That hurts.
HR wouldn't approve it, which I'm still protesting. That was a heavy thing, but it was a good experience. We also got inside and realized that the island was not ready for it yet, so we had to sit it on something. At which point I said, if little Jack, his son, is running around and that thing tips, well, no little Jack. I can just say that.
Yeah.
Gone. So be careful.
Okay, so we've got building bikes.
Yeah.
And
I remodeled my house. I'm into a little bit of a woodworking thing. So
yeah, you're a builder of nearly everything, I think.
I enjoy, that type of stuff.
Where did you learn that skill from? Your father-in-law? Or no,
Father-in-law on YouTube.
Really?
Like I said, I don't know why, but I gravitate towards things where I've got to figure it out. Maybe it's creativity. I've got something in there, but it's not like cool things like music or something. It's
like to challenge yourself.
Running baseboard in your house, which sounds really boring and awful, but somehow I find pleasure in it.
Well, I'm
sounds
not
terribly boring.
I'm not good at that. Yeah, just stresses me out. I'm just worried the whole time I'm going to mess it all up.
Yeah.
Anyways, you want to go to the fishbowl?
Have
Let's
you?
go to the fishbowl.
Let's go to the fishbowl, folks.
I've heard about this fishbowl.
Thanks, Zach, for being a guest. I
Sometimes
will apologize for these questions.
Sometimes I have to take like 2 really deep breaths just because I don't want to physically react to the question so much. Because I find that to be offensive to the
I'm
to
glad
the person.
you have a process for this.
Yeah. So, Zach, what I'd like to know is, you know what would be a good idea? Putting a giant QR code on the side of our building. Would you agree or disagree with that?
Where does the QR code go?
Like if you clicked on it?
Like if you take a picture of it, it's got to go somewhere, right?
To villagecaregiving.com.
Okay. Well, you didn't say that part.
I didn't write it.
No. I think it'd be a wonderful idea.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying.
No one disagreed with you. You act like you got
I
voted
know you
down
were
in
going
committee.
to.
Which building are we talking?
The castle one.
Okay, it's gotta be
just
that
put
one.
a giant QR code.
Well, let's dig in here. Where would you put this thing?
No, you could put it on the back side as you come up Main Street.
Okay.
QR code there. Who can resist clicking on that? Yeah?
You got me.
I don't know. Aren't you? Now I'm kind of flip-flopping here. Aren't you kind of condoning driving and taking a picture of the thing?
Well, now you got HR involved.
Who's not doing that? Let's get real.
Fair enough.
Pull another one out of there. That is a good idea, though. I
agree.
think I'm going to look into this.
Okay.
I didn't know if it was file a review or.
You could even can you change what the QR code goes to once you make it? There's a lot of tech people in there. You can? So you can just rotate it around then. This is even better than I thought.
So it would
Could go to an
go to
80s
Village
music
Caregiving,
video.
and all of a sudden it goes to
Anything you want. A resource for
putt golf.
if that's what you took the notion to do that day, yes.
Do you know how
It'd be a
confused
surprise.
people would be?
Every single day it goes to something a little different and interesting. Who wouldn't? You'd get out of bed just to go point the phone at our building.
No,
Then
no,
it
they
goes to-
wouldn't. They would be confused. They would think that our
What's the
our
church down there in
billboard
Barbersville that
broke.
has these quotes that really don't have anything to do with?
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
I was 29 minutes in, and he asked a question, and I just totally... God, I was this close. All right, sorry, the church that did what?
They have like the really catchy quotes that sometimes
Those are
Oh,
Bible.
right.
Those
Yeah,
are
that's-
Bible verses. Those aren't
No, they're
quotes.
not
It says
Bible verses.
Luke 12:13.
I drive past an every
No,
day.
he's talking about ones that say, like, you think it's hot here, try hell.
Yeah.
Stuff like
It could
that.
be like that. So all of a
That's
sudden,
what they say. I'm not
I
making
look
this up.
forward to seeing what the quote is.
Right, now
could be
take
the
that
QR.
and multiply it times 10, and you've got the level of interest I'm talking about.
With the QR code.
This, I'm on to something.
Well, we
here.
should cut this from the podcast and keep it a corporate secret. I mean, we're really...
Let me ask you this. I'll frame it this way.
Okay.
What if your biggest competitor did it first? Wouldn't you kind of be like, God, why didn't we think of that? Yeah, huh? All right.
You
next.
got me.
It's a common measure of whether you should do something. Would you be
That's
upset
why
if
they
someone-
pay me the big bucks.
Zach, do you know what those red squares with raised bumps on the sidewalk corners are for? I mean, I know you know this. That's part of HR training.
The red.
You know, the red squares on the corners with the raised bumps.
I don't know that I've ever seen them before.
You.
I'm being honest.
Oh, we're going overtime.
What? I shouldn't have to explain. I mean, this is your question, but when you're at the sidewalk with the crosswalk, the little handicap ramp goes down, and there's the red square with the little grooved bumps. In the
Okay. What do I think that's for?
Yeah, do you know what those are for?
No. Blind people? I don't know.
What do you think?
I'm still processing his answer just now.
They're bumps. You got to stand on them. You know this there. I don't know. It's a total guess.
Yeah, I think they're for traction for when you run across the intersection.
He's right. It's Braille.
It is not Braille.
Yeah, your answer was so much better than mine.
I mean, it's not going to...
Because I thought it was ridiculous. I don't believe that it was a
So you
launch
think a couple
pad.
bumps are going to like slow you down? You're not in a car.
No, I think they're for traction because they're always at a little incline.
I asked this question. I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot or embarrass, but that's what I would suspect a lot of the answer would be.
Yeah.
That's why I asked the question. How it's for blind people. I mean, that's you don't want to walk out in traffic. I mean, that's the point. It's not Braille. Like you're not going to get
I didn't say
Shakespeare
it was
out of it.
Braille.
But it's a recognition of like stop here. This is what got me thinking about. So when I was in Japan a while back, they take it a step farther, and instead of just being an occasional, this probably happens in some places in America, but they just have yellow painted grooves that will go down the whole sidewalk. You can follow those things like a yellow brick road, and then they have different meanings. So this one might have a square of bumps, and it will pave off this way. So anyways, I just got to thinking, like, I wonder, are there places in the U.S. that have that intricate a system, or is Japan ahead of us on that? And then I just wondered, out of curiosity, if I went around and asked 100 people on the street, what do you think that's for?
Yeah.
Because you don't ever pay attention to it, really. And I'll be honest, I don't want to leave you out here hanging.
No.
I think that I used to think that too. I just like, well, this must be for traction, I guess. That's how dumb I am.
Okay, number one, I did not think it was for running. I thought when people, like a little kid on their bicycle.
Wheelchair,
I think you said
something.
it's for when you run across the street.
It was a joke, because I thought yours was a
again,
joke. I thought
never know when this is happening.
Well, at any rate, we're just doing a little education here.
Yeah, I think that's great. Maybe we have time for one more.
Sure.
Fair enough. He's got to get one right.
Yeah, we're just going to keep going.
Zach, have you ever wondered which animal species might be the next to evolve to a state of human-like intelligence? Was you last night when you were riding your bike and you looked over and in the brush was nestled a fill in the blank, and you thought, I wonder if that little fella could do some math at some point. You ever?
I've never thought that.
No, you wouldn't. Jeff?
I can think about it right now, but you asked me if I ever thought about that.
Yeah.
The answer is no.
Well, which animal do you think it could be? Well, who's the closest to making the jump?
I've been told dolphins are pretty intelligent, but I don't know enough to speak on.
Well, if you ever watched the show Flipper, you would know.
Well, I haven't seen that show yet.
Yeah, Jeff, which animal would you suspect? You probably already know.
Of course, I put the question.
You ran into it.
Well, I have a really hot take on this.
Okay.
Which ones are the most intelligent? Which ones are
Sure.
closest in evolution? You'd think apes. There's chimpanzees that can do math or whatever. I don't know. What I submit to you,
Okay.
dogs.
They're just, well, I was going to say a golden doodle. I mean, I look at my little Callie and I just think
Let me ask you a question.
she could fix dinner tomorrow with the right tools.
Your dog,
Yeah,
Callie?
little Callie, yeah. She's
You
tall.
think she could fix dinner?
Well, maybe. I mean, microwave, pop some popcorn or something. But go on with yours.
Okay, you're only supporting my theory.
I know.
Let me ask you this.
You said dolphins? Go on.
I can't back that up, by the way.
I'm gonna go somewhere with this now.
Okay.
And we got to get back to that story.
Dogs
about
of
my
the
daughter.
sea. Everyone
Most
calls a
embarrassing.
dolphin that. Go on.
Let's say that another life form comes to Earth, right?
Right.
Galaxies away, and they're just light years ahead of us. They can telepathically things that I can't even imagine.
Right. Which is shocking based off these questions. but
They
go
can.
on.
Touche. They can clearly just annihilate us at any whim that they may have.
Okay.
what would we do when they came? We would have to just kind of buddy up to them, be nice, be like, look, we're inferior, but we want to learn, and like, just let us hang around you. We'll be nice and try to help you. That's what dogs have done first to this one. There ain't no dolphin in your living room when you get home, or a squirrel out in a tree. He's not hearing language and conversations. My dog's sitting there listening to all this stuff.
Taking it all in.
Taking it in.
Like a little Alexa with a bark.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
If you had to pick one species
So
that could begin to pick up on all this stuff,
Right, the chatter.
I'd say it's more than the apes that have, we're closest to them in DNA and things like that. But they're not hanging out, going to the park with you. There's only one animal that's really learning all this.
Okay. It's
That's
the
dogs.
Yeah, no,
man's best friend.
absolutely. So
So
your theory is because alien species would turn us into their dogs, that our dogs are most likely to make the
I was just using that as an analogy. Dogs are in a prime position to learn
okay.
at an exponential rate compared to most other animals.
I thought we were making the jump to dogs may be aliens.
Well, there is a Kurt Vonnegut story about how dogs are actually a superior species, and
Well, there
then
we
one
go.
of them gets caught with a machine that Thomas Edison made, and he's outed, and he has to confess. He's like, "Look, this is working out really well for both of our species here. Let's break this machine." It was a brainwave, and Edison just vowed to, "You're right. Let's leave this one alone." So it would make sense. I mean, I'm going to go home,
Yeah.
feed this thing.
Right?
Walk it around, sleep in my bed. My wife loves it more than me.
Yes, I've seen
Seems
her
really
in County.
excited about this.
Yeah. I bet.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
That's
Zach.
that's a much more thought.
Can I
answer
close
than
really
mine of-
quickly, though, with the most embarrassing moment ever that my daughter did as a flower girl?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Which I don't really remember, by the
Oh,
way.
yeah.
Thank
But
God.
So it's not.
Listen to what Rachel did when she was, maybe 2? What year did you get married?
2, 3, you put me on the spot.
I'm just
2016?
kidding. Obviously, we know it's
2016.
2016.
Of
Right?
course it was.
So she's 1 or 2 then. The flower girl ceremony itself is an absolute disaster. Annabelle, who is your
Niece.
niece, it was with her 2 flower girls. Annabelle did a nice job. My daughter decides to just lay down and start throwing the stuff and having
Oh,
a
I do
tantrum,
remember
pulling
this
her
now.
dress up. That was bad enough, okay, but it gets way worse. You remember you know where I'm going?
No, I
now?
do remember this now that we're
Okay.
talking about it, but I don't remember.
So
this
at
next
the
part.
reception after the wedding, your brother Elijah is giving a best man speech. Do
Oh,
I have
yeah.
this right? Yeah.
Oh, what a special moment.
Right.
Surely she didn't do anything to ruin that.
Well, I'm going to tell you about it.
Okay.
And he's just awesome dude, like big, strong guy. But he played for the Washington.
Redskins and
Commanders.
the Packers a little bit.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
Sorry,
So
Commanders.
NFL
My bad.
No, it's okay.
NFL player
Yeah.
that everybody would think is, Superman. But he's having this vulnerable moment, giving this really beautiful best man speech, getting emotional. It was really seriously touching. In the middle of this, we're in this beautiful hotel atrium,
Yeah.
big dance floor out in the middle, but it's cleared, of course. And Elijah's over on the side giving this heartfelt speech, pouring his heart out. My daughter decided that would be the prime moment to tear all of her clothes off.
Okay.
And begin to run in circles in front of everyone in her diaper only.
Yeah.
And I had to go out there and retrieve her as he was giving the speech and be like, "I'm so sorry for this."
I think it's coming
there
back
was a
to me a
moment.
little bit. I thought it was hilarious.
You
Of
ever
course
seen
that's
like
not
in
my daughter.
silly sitcoms how somebody will just like leave? Like
Yeah.
that's not real life. I actually, when she ran out there, I swear I thought like I might just leave,
Just go home.
just walk out of this
Yeah.
hotel right now.
Well, I'm glad you didn't. I don't. What is it about you and her that during very emotional sharing times, you just decide that that's the time to go a different way? It's a generational thing.
I don't know.
Why are
Nice callback.
Yeah,
Good
that's
callback
a
right there.
learned behavior. I'll talk to Sarah about it.
Yeah, please.
Zach, Thank you for coming down. Thank you for being the fill-in for Andy Hess, as you alleged, which wasn't true.
Thanks for having me.
We appreciate now that this is you've made it to the end. You've survived.
Mm-hmm.
You no longer have to wonder, are the mics on? You can, there it is. You can jump right in anytime. You're welcome back anytime.
Okay.
The fishbowl was bottomless. Every day he wakes up, he's got new ones of these.
Oh, I've seen. He shared notes with me some mornings, and they're great.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine what's left in there.
So
They're all thought provoking. I can guarantee you that.
anytime, sometimes we may just put them up on the QR code board and let people scan them.
You know, there was a very brief period where I had an HR suggestion box, not like this. But, very thought-provoking stuff in there. We won't.
Really, there were some hot takes there in that
yes,
HR
weird.
suggestion box.
Yeah. So, creative people we work with.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, Zach, thank you. Jeff, as always, thank you for your contributions.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming down, man. Cheers, all right?
Thanks.
Cheers.
Cheers. Got a water here.